Hello, in this video I'm going to go over how to make this beaker stand. Should be pretty quick and easy. So we have all this in here. I'm going to hide everything that I'm not going to be using. So for now I'm just going to hide all this stuff. Let's move this out of the way. So this is kind of like a cylinder and has a hole on the top and the bottom. So whenever I start a new asset, I try to find a primitive that kind of gets me close to that shape, and one that kind of works is the pipe. So I'm going to create that, and I'm just going to eye it. Oops. And go to my channel box. So you can click up here, remember, and then down here, I'm going to change the radius like this, and then I'm going to make this thing the same thickness, so maybe 1, so it's something like a square. Okay, so I have that shape. Now I need these like pipes that go along the top, and I want them to be perfectly kind of square or cylindrical. So that means to me, when I look at this, that I want my polygons to be almost like squares, so that I can just extrude up and connect them. So I'm going to go over and change the subdivision access, and this might be a no-no in like a game situation where you're really trying to reduce the amount of geometry, but I'm just trying to make a good animation, so this is not going to impact me too much. And then I'm gonna select. I'm gonna look from the top view because I want to select the corners perfectly. So something like close to perfect. Maybe something like that. So I'm kind of looking at the grid too, seeing if that kind of matches. So something like that. So these ones are, I'm just gonna delete those. So those will be my connections, or my holes that will connect between this top part to the bottom part. I might make this a little bit wider. Okay, so now I'm going to duplicate this, so I have another one, and I'm going to invert this. So I'm going to say -1, and that flipped it upside down. Oops. And you'll see that the holes now kind of connect. I'm going to bring this up. And to figure out my height, when I bring in my image here, it's a little bit, it's about reaching the, it's a little bit higher than the skull. So I'm using this as a kind of a guide. Since this is like a fantastical scene, it doesn't need to be super accurate unless you're trying to do hyperrealism. So I'm going to select that. There's a certain point though where if you don't try to make it look as accurate as you can, then it will start breaking the realism too much. So that's too much. Oh, maybe I did that too fast for everyone. So what I did, okay, there we go. I just grouped them. So I just selected both of them and grouped them by hitting Control G. And then I selected the group and scaled them down. And then just moved them up. And I'm going to look at my table. And what I can do is just place this, oops, in a spot where I think it's going to be. And I can put my pivot point now. If I hit D, and this arrow, and so this will now only go down and up, and hit V at the same time, and middle mouse, D, V, middle mouse. See how it moved it to the base of that? Getting used to those snapping tools is super powerful. So even though it might be a little hard in the beginning, it's very useful. So I'm bringing that, and then I'm going to look at the overall width and scale. So probably something like this, and then this will go up, and then it's a little bit fatter. So, and then this part, bring up a bit. Actually, I don't want to move those vertices again, so I am going to look at it from the side. Let's move them up a bit. Okay, so now I'm thinking about what that candle's going to be in the middle. I think that's going to look okay. And you can always put like a cylinder in here in case you're not sure that represents the candle, just to get your scaling right, but I can always adjust it afterwards. So I'm going to select these because I want to connect them, and I'm going to go to Mesh, Combine, and then I'm going to delete my history. And then I am going to connect the holes that we made. So I'm going to select that one, oops, that one, and say hit my shift right click to go to my marking menu and bridge. So that makes sense. Or you can use a pin polygon. This was a simple case where what I'm connecting, so bridge is fine when it works. Okay. Just pressing G to do the last action. There we go. And now if I hit 3, you'll see that it's a little mushy. So I want these to feel like they're industrially made. So I'm going to add a supporting edge there. 3. Another one there. Let's make it feel a little tighter. And then I'm going to have to try to do this exactly the same on each one of these. So like that. Oops. Okay. And then if I hit 3 now, so it's kind of rounding on the top, which is kind of cool. And it does like that. You can also, if you want something more sharper, like if you want this to be a sharper thing on the bottom, which kind of makes sense. So if I did something like this and this, hit 3, then I get a sharp surface on the bottom and a rounder on the top. So that could be interesting. And maybe I'll leave the top to be more rounded because the beaker will sit on in the middle of this. So I think that's fine. One thing that I don't like is that I have these giant faces that are connecting. So right next to these really tiny ones. So I like to make it my geometry a little bit even though I'm adding more to it. So more geometry. I'm going to go to my insert edge loop and go to the options, and I'm going to select multiple edge loops, and I'll go up to I'll try 4 and see what that looks like. So it kind of adds even spacing of 4. I'm just going to do that for each one of these. There we go, and I think that looks good. Now if I hit 3 over this, I have my beaker holder all set up. I might have to change it later once I get everything in there, but it's a good start. Alright, I'll see you in the next video.